and welcome. I'm Kalpana Singhal, Editor-in-Chief CXO TV and Techplus Media. And we have with us a very special guest, Quinny, Head Business IT Solutions at Grab, for this very interesting fireside chat on data intelligence strategy to build organizational architecture for automation AI. Welcome, Quinny.
Hi, good afternoon, Kalpana. My role currently is I'm the head of business IT solutions, managing all the enterprise applications services, including ERP, CRMs, people systems, and productivity systems for Grab.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So Lee, with your extensive experience across technology and engineering solutions organizations, how would you summarize your technology leadership journey till now?
It's been quite a good number of years that I have been in IT. I've been all the time in IT, almost 2 decades now. It all started off with applications, then network, then more into data technologies, data lake, and intelligence, business intelligence tools. So throughout the whole journey, I would say that every single steps of the technology footprint brings a lot of values to my learning and leadership. I believe that in how we lead our team is really to do empowerment. I give a lot of empowerment to my team in order to provide their insight around how we can digitalize for our corporate structure and corporate environment. As of the whole entire journey, I would say that we always do the right thing for the corporate. And it's not just to get the best of class of product, but really getting something that fit for purpose for the corporate environment and as well as in the industry. Where I'm coming from is I come from many different industries such as retail, marine, oil and gas, manufacturing. So just to name a few. And within all these different industry, it has been quite apparent in this 8 to 10 years span of time, the corporate has put in more emphasis towards data. Why? It's because data can only be growing, and it grows to the certain extent that you want the data to be useful to the corporate decisions. Henceforth, for the good number of 8 years, I have been spending a lot of time making sure or even enabling the data capabilities to my corporates that I have been engaging with. And with that, I think as a leader, we also want to see the insightful data, prescriptive data that comes back into us, not just so much of transaction anymore. In those days, we used to say that transactional data is very important and blah, 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 right? But now it's more like prescriptive data. From the transactional data that we gathered, we want to be able to tell what is ahead of us. Henceforth, data intelligence has become more and more important. And in fact, in the next couple of years, it is going to be even more important reason, not just that we are using the data, but also to protect the data, and security comes in place. So they all work hand in hand. And to be in this role, to manage applications at the same time to protect our data, to ensure that we are compliant, and as well as protecting all the different types of regulations. As of now, we have a lot of compliance issue like PII, PDPA, and all these different types of regulatory that is coming ahead on us. So we really need to put in a lot of emphasis, not just for scaling the data, but also to protect the data.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the 3 things which excite you most about your role?
I would say the first thing that is very exciting about my role is my team. I always believe that if you have a good team, you will have a good pipeline and you will deliver. I have a real capable and interesting team. I have 4 different work streams altogether in my functions. They all take care of different systems. I have my people systems, I have my finance and procurement systems, and I have a CRMs or sales systems. And finally, I have a productivity system. The most interesting one is the productivity systems because they takes care of all the GWS, Slack, and every other systems that connect the whole entire Grab community. And what excites me most about my team is that although we are all handling different platforms, but we all can come together and speak on the common language. How can we connect? How can we do automation? How can we integrate with each other to scale from where we are to the next level that we want to be? So that is something that interests me the most. And secondly, what interests me the most is the way how we build our architecture, right? So it is like it's a big and fast organizations. It is like every day is new things. I really like the way it is, and we learn new things every day. Every single day, there will not be a day without an interesting conversations that's going around within the whole entire Grab community. So it's very interesting where although we are all managing different things from all the different teams, but all we want to do is really to be motivated and deliver based on the common goal. And this is some culture that I see in Grab that I don't see much in other organizations. So that is culture. The second things that I see is very important and motivating me. And thirdly is around the way that the company is operating. So the company is only going to be growing to a very large and sizable organizations. And that will mean that it excites a lot within us in terms of digitalizations. If you think about it, Grab is not in a conservative organizations that run on, sorry to say that, like say manufacturing or pharmaceutical, that you have a very structured and conservative way of doing things. Grab is a super app and IT services company. So we all speak common IT service language. So we all knows IT, regardless whether you're not from the CTO product team or you're from the CIO enterprise team. So that is something that is very valuable for me because we are challenging each other, learning by the day, and then to exchange notes around how we operate our organizations. Because at the end of the day, one is customer facing products, right? And then us is internal facing. We want to serve grabbers. So that is the way the organization is moving, and it is actually giving a lot of opportunity to us to exchange idea, to move around the organizations, and to grow our talents and our people.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And that brings me to the next question, that how do you see the technology landscape changing over the last few months in response to the ongoing pandemic? And if you can provide us a bird eye view from the perspective of technology organizations.
This is a very interesting topic that have been going around the market for the last few months, and how we address the pandemic, how we ensure the connectivity is there, right? And the availability. So for us, for the past few months, it has been very interesting, and not just interesting in the way that we are all working from home, but at the same time, look at that, the supply chains breakdown. We are having issues around laptops issuance. there's there's a lot of demand, but because of the chips scarcity, we are not able to get our laptops. And how do we work with that? And therefore, we cannot deploy our own laptop to our contractors. How we do it? We do the VM, we do the VDI. So there are certain ways of doing things, but we need to spin this off like just like that. But we need to test, we need to pilot it, we need to run it in a very secure way as well. So these are all the challenges that we face for the last few months. And we are constantly improving how we can deliver to our grabbers to make sure that they can work anywhere, everywhere, so that we are constantly providing our service, not just to grabbers, but also to our contractors, so that we all can work and deliver at the same time. And because of the rapid technology and rapid movement that we are always in, and we can't stop working. And that is the interesting part, because we put all the brains together, brainstorm it, and then just do a POC, and then do some pilot runs, and then we just hit the road and go for it. So at the same time, we need to be very compliant at the same time, right? So it is very challenging, and not just about laptop deployment, but also the well-being of our employees. So working from home is not something that is interesting to many people. It's like you're not interacting with human. And to quote an example, we have been in meetings, online meetings all the time. Just to say, before the pre-pandemic conditions, we are all able to go for meeting and meet the people, and we have a break every after meeting because we need to move from room to room. So you get at least 30 minutes break. But from a perspective from online meeting, there's no such thing anymore. It's like back to back. You cut off at 3, you start at 4. I mean, you cut off at 3, you start at 3, and you cut off at 4, you start at 4. So there's not even a minute of break, and sometimes it's overflow. And this has actually caused a lot of impact to mental health and as well as stress to our employees. I would say that this is not just for Grab, but the entire society itself. And what in Grab we can do is we just actually have a Grab Day this month on the 8th of October. And that is really for us to tune off and let out and just shut down for a day and have peace for that day. And that really recovers quite a lot of my own mental health, I would say. And and that it's like a reboot and restart, right? So when you rebooted from that day and you come back on the next week, and there is you start to have that kind of motivation all over again. I guess this is something very important for any other corporations to consider. Give some time out for your employees, make sure that they rest, because this is something that I also encourage my team members to do. um, Take some time to reflect, take some time out to think of your own well-being, because at the end of the day, if we keep stressing ourselves, push ourselves to the limit, and that is when we break.
Yeah, absolutely. So, data forms the basis of the organizational intelligence and has become utmost crucial in the current landscape. However, data silos is a major challenge. What is your strategy to break the data silos and leverage the pool of structured data for analytics and organizational growth?
Okay, to be honest, my team does not manage the whole data lake itself. We have a data lake. Actually, we don't have just one data lake. We have multiple of data lakes and data warehouse in just Grab. Like what you say, it's very silo in the sense that our product team will have their own data warehouse, and our HR system will have their own data warehouse. So they're all working in a very silo mode. One reason is really because of the data residencies and data confidentiality. Like PII data cannot go out from the country, and therefore there's certain reason why we are making certain data silo. But in my point of view, to gather and making sure that we have a one single source of truth and one single point of view of our own data, it is very important to always host data in silos, right? You can still host your data in silos, but there must be some integrations in between to capture the right data and automate such data to do formulas to formula it to provide you a better view of the data that you really need to the correct audience. And in this case, you are able to utilize your data even though they are on silos. And secondly, you're in compliance not to manipulate the data because you're using automations to pull the data out from the different data lakes that you have. And thirdly, is to ensure that you are using a correct RBAC situations to provide the informations to the correct audience, not compromising the whole data view for different types of audience. So this is the structure I would say that is going to be beneficial for how these organizations work. Reason being that it is going to be a huge and monstrous project if we want to consolidate all this data into one lake. Reason being that they are all coming out from a different format, they're all coming out from a different way of seeing the data. And data have a lot of different meanings to very different types of audience. And henceforth, they they are, if you ask me, in this environment, there is no need for us to consolidate into one big pool of data.
Yeah. So, what is the role of automation and AI do you see for organizations driving customer experience? And how does a robust data intelligence strategy leads to a robust architecture for automation and AI initiatives?
Well, obviously AI is not is something that we cannot detach nowadays. sorry, it is a must. It is no longer a want, it's a need. So I think with AI coming in place, with different machine language that we incorporate to run our data insight, it gives us a better gist or better grasp of what kind of data are we looking at. Good data, bad data, manageable, valuable for us. So with AI, it actually gives us a bit of a more of a customer experience. Like, say for example, we are trying to enhance our users experience by managing their favorites search. How do they do their search? And then in that case, you can only learn what they like to search by using AI, by learning the patterns that these users is doing every single day of their life in Grab. So this is something that we want to put in place in our organizations to ensure that we can leverage on our own data at the same time, not just the legacy data, but the coming forth data. How do we want to um, maximize the capacity and the usage of the data and the meaningful data that we are storing? Because at the end of the day, we store data for the sake of storing data. If you think about it, a lot of organization is actually just storing data because they think it is important. But how important it is, nobody actually asked to view the data, and nobody actually learned the data insight from it. And that will translate to one thing: we are um, over keeping of our data without the thoughts of using it. And it is a waste of resources, storage, managing, replicating, making sure DR. These are all efforts that is putting into place to manage all this data.
Yeah. So, if you can talk about what are your top technology focus areas over the next couple of years?
For us, we are trying to maximize our and even optimize our own platforms now. So we are focusing on around how to bring up the speed of our systems landscape. At the end of the day, we just want to have a very comprehensive architecture within Grab itself, and as well as to enhance on the customer experience. And that is our topmost priority: enhancing customer experience, bringing up the market value of our service provide. The way we provide our service. So, for example, how we onboard our merchants, we want to provide that kind of intuitiveness in terms of like using AI to drive the to tell them which are their target market, and also to tell them which is their best product to sell, and how to enhance and do more promotion around that in terms of Grab ads. So we would like to focus around on external customer experience and as well as internal employee experience, so that we can retain our employees talent and enhance their journey to stay with us and to grow with us, and as well as to give them the best of the tools to work, to deliver, to outserve our customer.
Yeah, sure. So, how are you aligning your technology priorities with the business growth, and what is the synergy you build between the two?
We are looking a lot of around automations, RPA and BPA, and we are also starting to focus more around ML and AI. So, not wanting to name the product names, but we are already starting to look into all these areas of technology. And data lake aside, we still look into data lakes. We progressively and continuously looking into our data lake and how to integrate them and how to clean up our data. So it's not just pulling out data, but also data cleansing, data retainment, data maintenance. So we are all looking into all different channels of efforts, not just one, but our focus is really to enhance on the capability of our systems and users experience. So the thing is, in terms of platform, we want to focus more on one platform, a single source of truth of platform, and grow within that platform, and or also wanting to use that kind of platform that have a robust and scalable functionality that enable us to work across functions, not just within our own IT department, but as well as our product um, family as well.
King, lastly, we would like to know who is your role model?
Role model. I do have a very strong and very good mentor. My ex-boss, he's why I say that he's a role model is because he has absolute, extremely high humility values in him. To me, is a leader have to have a very um, honest, transparent, trust, and lots of humility in him to encourage their mentees to perform, to work at their best of their level, not to stress them, not to only to bring the best out of them. So to me, my role model mentor is I actually have one. That person is not just very hu- human, but he's also very understanding. He's willing to go extra miles to help you, and this is what the leadership that I always look out for. And I'm also practicing and exercising that kind of mentor and leadership to my team as well. So I believe we we are here to serve. We are here to work with our team, to work with our stakeholders, um, with a very common goal and to the best of the interests of the organization that we serve. And even better, with Grab, we are serving the community. And that is the reason why I joined Grab. We are serving the community. Always have that in mind. We don't do everything for ourselves, but we are doing every single efforts for the community as a whole. The impact that we bring it's not just for us, not just for the team, not just for Grab, but as for the community as well. So this is for a better cause, and this is what I learned from my mentor. He's a he's a very great guy.
Yeah, good to hear about him. So, what message you want to give to our CXO audience?
I would say always do the right thing. Always stay humble. Remember your humble beginnings, and always be there for your team to guide them, to show them the way. At the end of the day, we don't just guide them, but we learn from them as well. So every engagement is a learning journey. To me, is a two-way interactions. And always remember, we always do not go out and procure a systems just because of its brand, just because of how it gets marketed, but really the the assessment should comes in from the best for the company, the best fit for purpose for the company, and as well as always do the right thing. So if there is something that the company is looking out for, always be brave to challenge the status quo and always be brave to justify your stand so that your message can be sent across regardless if you win the war, but at the end of the day you have sent your message across, and that is something that you know that you have done your best.
These are really informative and useful to other organizations as well.
Thank you so much for hosting me today, Kalpana.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.